Good morning and happy Saturday, December 20th. Wow, I really appreciate you guys listening to the podcast. And if you don't mind, go to one of our formats, our platforms, for instance, YouTube, Spotify podcast, and Apple podcast, and like us and share us. We would appreciate it. And if there's an opportunity, put a comment on there, good or bad, I don't care. A little constructive criticism could be helpful. So thank you for that. So we are 5 days away from Christmas. It's getting exciting. I know Santa's going to be here in 4 days, the evening of Christmas Eve or during the night. And there's no telling what kind of gifts he may drop off at your house. And maybe he's made a little room in his sleigh, in his bag, for some DIY gifts or some environmentally friendly gifts or energy efficiency gifts. You know, our shows about energy efficiency and environment and things like that. So I wouldn't consider ourselves, the atypical tree hugger or anything like that, but we do love the environment and we want to protect it as much as we can. Or you might be a little bit like me and be one of those who puts off everything until the last minute when it comes to gift giving. And perhaps you're behind or haven't even started shopping. Well, you're not alone, and it's okay. Don't panic. Take a deep breath, but listen up. This show drops at 6 a.m. Saturday morning. So if you are listening anytime close to that, say 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 even, you're in luck. We're 5 days out of Christmas. It's Saturday. There's a lot of stores open. But here's what I'd do if I were you, and I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. Get up, listen to the show, and I'd go to somewhere like Bill's Jumbo Burger, and I'd grab a bacon breakfast burrito minus onion. Their onions are pungent. I guess that's the best word. They're strong. They're good. But normally I'm like eating there like at breakfast or at lunch, and I'm coming back to work, and I talk to a lot of people, so I don't necessarily want onion breath. But grab that burrito. And again, this should happen after you listen to the podcast in its entirety. Life hack. You can change the speed with the settings. You can listen to it at regular speed. You can listen to it at 1.25, 1.5, 1.75, or 200%, maybe in 300%. Now, I think 300% is a little fast. I listen at 200% sometimes. I like to listen to the show just to make sure everything's sounding good and working properly. And it sounds a little fast, but you can understand everything, and it cuts a 30-minute show into 15. I found that the best speed to listen is about 1.5. But anyway, listen to the podcast, soak all that in, head over to Burns Hardware. They have something for everyone on your list. And I say Burns because I'm familiar with them and their locally owned brick and mortar store. And I'd like to help them out a little bit. You know, the big box stores and online stores, they've got all the help they need. So it's these local, home-owned and operated stores that we really need to focus on. There's a bunch of them downtown. There's a bunch of neat boutiques and there's ladies' clothing, there's men's clothing, and a lot of new shops downtown. You need to check it out. Downtown Clovis Main Street, the Main Street organization headed up by Lisa is doing a great job. Lisa Spear. And there's some antique style lighting going in, the black kind of cast iron looking lighting that might have been popular in the turn of the century, like 1800s to 1900s, into the 20s, in through the 40s. That type of lighting is being put in. There's pedestrian lighting, there's street lighting, and at night right now, Lisa was making a real push for window decorating, and there's a lot, and it seems like the emphasis was on white lighting, so it's really beautiful downtown. And so Christmas is in the air. And anyway, back to Burns. I'm picking out Burns today because Burns was a major sponsor of our radio show back 10 years ago, and then we went on for 5 years, almost 250 shows, and they sponsored every show. So I appreciate what Burns did then. So I've been talking them up ever since. But again, they have something for everyone on your list. Burns could be your one-stop shop. And if you can't find something, there's always someone there willing to help. As a matter of fact, I've said this for a long time. If you're 10 feet inside the store and someone doesn't greet you and ask if they can help you find something, there's something wrong. And I challenge you to do this. Go in there and test me 10, 15 feet into the store. If someone hasn't spoken to you, then I'll be eating crow. But I promise you they will. And while you're there, stop at High Plains Gun Shop and say hi to Ryan and Gabriel. Those guys do a good job over there. Who needs coffee when you've got Morning Buzz with the Energy Guy? Morning Buzz with the Energy Guy is the only podcast awarded the prestigious Energy Star label. So let's talk about some of the things you can find at Burns Hardware or some of the, one of the big box stores here, maybe a couple of them. It's too late to order online. You will not get it before Christmas. In most cases. Yes, there are some exceptions to that. But, you probably have some DIYers in your family on your gift list. So I came up with several things that would be beneficial for a DIYer in your family, the do-it-yourselfer. And there are things that I have either had some experience with or would like that are on my list of things that I want. But laser distance measurer, that's a good one. Stud finder. Brad nailer. Man, my Brad nailer. And of course now they're moving away from the compressor pneumatic tools to battery operated tools. And so many of them use the same battery. That's the key. Find you a good tool and get a few batteries and a charging station, and you're in business. I mean, they have charging stations out there with up, 4 to 6, maybe even 8 batteries at a time. Now that's expensive. You're gonna have to build that up over time. But that could be on your Christmas list, just a battery, like an 18 or 20 volt battery. Perhaps your favorite brand is Milwaukee. Maybe it's DeWalt. Perhaps it's Cobalt. There's another one that one of the big box stores carry, Hart, H-A-R-T. It's pretty good stuff. But whatever you go with, you probably would, it would benefit you to continue to use the same brand of tools because they oftentimes use the same battery. But my Brad nailer, I was talking about it. It's a pneumatic, runs off a compressor, but man, it is handy. I use it so much. Painter tripods, rotary tools, clamps. Can never have too many clamps. Sliding miter saw. I just bought myself one. And it'll cut through, I don't know the depth, but it'll cut through, I think the depth's probably 4 inches maybe, and it'll cut through the width of about 12 to 14 inches. So that's a big board. There aren't many boards larger than that you would use, say, for framing. Compact drill, impact driver, drill bit set. Can't have too many drill bit set. Socket sets. I'm still looking for my 10 millimeter socket. Have no clue where it is. So You might want to buy a few extra 10 millimeter sockets. Caulking tools, like a caulking gun. Maybe some clear silicone caulk. That always comes in handy. Magnetic wristband. Super handy. Storage for power tools. Scroll saw. Self-leveling laser. I used one of those not long ago on putting some traditional hardwood flooring in. And it really came in handy. It's crazy about that laser. My mom, bless her heart, bought that for me probably 20 years ago. And it was in the package. When she gave it to me, I thought, that's cool, but I don't have anything. I wasn't doing a lot of DIY projects at the time. And I thought to myself, what am I going to do with this? So I held on to it for a number of years. About 5 years ago, I started putting in the floor in my house she didn't get to see. We bought an old farmhouse. And I'm still working on it. But 5 years ago, we started putting in the floor, and I thought, man, it'd sure be nice to have one of those self-leveling lasers. And I thought, I've got one. And I don't want to talk too much about it because I get emotional, but my mom had something to do with helping us put that floor in. And my wife and I say all the time, wouldn't my mother, our mother, she called her Mama, wouldn't she be proud of that house and what we've done with it, and and understand our vision for the house in the next couple of years. But interior spray gun. For that matter, exterior spray gun, a paint gun would be nice. Frog tape, painter's tape. And this is cool. I got one of these not long ago. It's got the Kreg, K-R-E-G pocket hole jig. I'd seen them on a number of things. I watched This Old House, or asked This Old House on KENW television, Channel 3 out of Portales, Eastern New Mexico University, public television. We are a sponsor for Ask This Old House, and have been for more than 20 years, Farmers Electric. We're the sole sponsor for that locally. So we're proud of that. But I saw them using this Kreg pocket hole jig, and I thought, man, I've got to have one of those. So I, out in my barn or cowshed, I guess, the back side of the stanchion was some old, it's yellow pine. The home is 80 years old, so there's no telling how old that tree was. And it's a rabbit joint, I believe they call it. It's not tongue and groove. It's similar. But they were 12 foot, or 10 foot. They were 120 inches. And I took those off, and I cut them because I broke some of them coming off, or they split at the ends. Because they've been back there and been used, been out in the weather. Well, not too much out in the weather. They're actually inside a stall. But those nails were in there good and tight. So, unfortunately, I did split them at the end, but I cut them down to 10 feet, 2 inches. And I made a big dining room table that seats 10 very comfortably. But I used my Kreg pocket hole jig when I was building the frame and out of 2x4s. And then I used the 1x8 yellow pine, and it turned out really beautiful. But so those are some great ideas. You could probably think of more. I mean, there's countless things. Any tool, any paintbrush, just anything that I cringe sometimes when I think, well, I've got this project and I got to go buy paintbrush, or I can't find, my framing hammer or something like that. And I know I'm going to drop, $30 for a hammer, but wouldn't that be a nice gift to give someone? And it's, again, a hammer or paintbrushes or whatever, any kind of socket tools, any kind of crescent wrench, any kind of adjustable pliers. You can't have too many of those. You really can't. So think about gifts for your do-it-yourselfers. And then this show we try to be environmentally friendly. We talk about how the electric cooperatives in general want to be a good environmental steward. And we do a lot to accomplish that. But I got to thinking, what might be an environmentally friendly gift? Since we're right here 5 days before Christmas. All that stuff I just mentioned on do-it-yourselfers, you can get every one of those things at Burns Do-It Center. So that's why I say it could be your one-stop shop. And they've got everything. So, I mean, you really probably have a gift for everyone on your list. Go by there and tell them the energy guy from Farmers Electric sent you. But if you're like me and like Farmers Electric, you're environmentally conscious. This holiday season, consider giving gifts that not only bring joy to your loved ones, but also show a little love to the environment. With a bit of planning, of course, we don't have much planning left, your celebrations can be just as festive while reducing waste and supporting sustainability. Choosing eco-friendly gifts is a simple way to spread cheer while keeping the environment in mind. Whether you're shopping for the minimalist, a foodie, or someone who loves a good DIY project, here are some ideas to inspire your holiday shopping list. So I put together a list of things. Eco-friendly subscription boxes. Subscription boxes are a fun way to surprise everyone or someone month after month. Look for options that focus on sustainability, such as low-waste lifestyle boxes, kits featuring reusable goods like beeswax wrap, bamboo utensils, and refillable cleaning products, plant-based treats, snack boxes with vegan goodies or organic tea samplers, digital subscriptions, ebooks, audiobooks, music, streaming services, or online learning platforms. That last one, the digital subscriptions, the ebooks and audiobooks, I've been doing that for a while. And the streaming services is something, I've got kids, and they don't all have their own, they're starting out in their careers, and they don't have a lot of expendable income. And, some of these things are not necessities. They're luxuries. And they may not have Netflix, or they may not have Fubo, or they may not have Disney, MGM Plus, you name it. So we shared those with them. And we've considered purchasing them, like a year's worth of Netflix or a year's worth of Fubo or something like that. So the streaming service idea is a pretty good one. Experience-based gifts. Gifting experiences instead of physical items reduces waste and creates lasting memories. Travel and adventure, weekend getaways, guided outdoor tours. I've often thought a guided fly fishing gift would be awesome, for someone's Christmas or somebody's retirement or their birthday. Passes for kayaking, skiing, or ice skating. Local foodie fun, gift cards to favorite restaurants. And I'm talking about, you can include the national chains, but I'm talking some of these local foods where they make some great sandwiches, wings, great sauces. Maybe it's a microbrewery, so you have that option. Pizza, just local stuff. And even if you have to travel a little ways, that's not a big deal. Go to Amarillo, Lubbock, Roswell, Santa Fe, Albuquerque. There's just an endless number of things you can do with that kind of thing. Tickets for concerts or amusement parks. Tickets to go to a zoo, aquarium, or botanical garden. These are great ideas. Skill-based experiences. Cooking or baking classes. Fitness sessions. I wouldn't want to give somebody a gift for fitness session, but I would if they were a cooking enthusiast. They'd love to have a cooking or baking class or creative workshops like pottery or painting or jewelry making. Durable and practical eco-friendly gifts. These everyday essentials are built to last and help reduce single-use waste. It's 20 minutes after the hour, so I'm going to speed up a little bit. Reusable items, stainless steel or silicone straws, beeswax food wraps, canvas tote bags, those are always nice. Stainless steel water bottles, those have been popular for a while. Silicone food containers, kitchen and home essentials, wool dryer balls, bamboo utensils, compost bins, that's a good one, reusable baking mats. Got a bunch of others here. Personal care, refillable beauty products, bamboo toothbrushes, or zero-waste grooming kits. Gifts made from sustainable materials. Choosing items made from eco-conscious materials is a simple way to support sustainability. Recycled and upcycled products, accessories made from ocean plastic, bags crafted from upcycled fabric or refurbished tech, natural and organic options, organic cotton clothing, clean skincare products, or wooden toys. There was one Christmas we were really struggling, my wife and I made by hand about 5 different wooden gifts. We made my mother, I can just off the top of my head, we made my mother a hummingbird clock. Made my nephew a little barn toy that he could play with. I can't remember the other, but there's about 5 that Christmas. And it's funny because those gifts are the ones that were most memorable to those people. I could have bought them something from the store, and a year later they might have forgotten what I got them. But those wooden toys, and they're sustainable. They stay in the family for a long time. They get passed down. They're almost like a heirloom. So consider those kind of things. Innovative eco products, solar-powered chargers, biodegradable phone cases, or compostable kitchenware. Thoughtful and handmade gifts. That's what I was just talking about a minute ago. Handmade gifts add personal touch and often have a smaller environmental footprint. DIY kits, soap making, candle making, or bath bomb kits make fun and functional presents, something you can do with your kids. Plantable paper goods, cards or bookmarks that can be planted to grow wildflowers often are a unique twist. And we gave those away at our annual meeting about 3 or 4 years ago, bookmarks that had marigold seeds. And we planted those at home. I believe that's where we got some of our marigolds. And they worked great there because the paper was biodegradable and the seeds were left behind. Homemade gifts, repurposed glass jars to make hot cocoa kits like the old ball jars. Those work great for that. Cookie mixes, or whip up your own natural scrub or cleaner. Smart home gadgets. For the tech-savvy, energy-efficient gadgets make practical and sustainable gifts. LED light kits, smart thermostats, smart plugs help reduce energy use and save money. So, just like planning ahead makes the holidays more enjoyable, choosing sustainable gifts can make a lasting impact. With a little creativity, you can give presents that are thoughtful, practical, and, of course, better for the environment. 24 minutes after, and I hope I've given you some ideas for Christmas if you haven't made those purchases yet, or you still have time to make something yourself. Homemade gift, they're always very thoughtful and always mean a lot to the recipient. Born on this day, December 20th, this is this day in history. We don't want to do a show without that. This day in history, born this day, December 20th, Harvey S. Firestone. Born in 1868, he was an industrialist and founder of the Firestone Tire and Rubber Company, who played a significant role in the early auto industry. And, of course, Firestone to this day make a very good tire. And he died, born in 1868, died in 1938. Dick Wolf, born 1946, television producer, best known for creating the Law and Order and Chicago TV franchise. A lot of people enjoy watching that. And what would that make him? 81? 81 years old this year. Law and Order in Chicago. They've been on, well, Law and Order's been on, I don't know, seems like forever. But I don't know how many seasons. I'm guessing 20 plus. This day in history, Hitler to Halder. Kein Rückzug. Kein Rückzug. For those that speak German, for those that don't. No retreat. 1941. In one of his first acts of the new commander-in-chief of the German army, Adolf Hitler informs General Franz Halder that there will be no retreating from the Russian front near Moscow. The will to hold out, this is a quote, the will to hold out must be brought home to every unit, end quote. Halder was also informed that he could stay on as the chief of the General Army Staff if he so chose, but only with the understanding that Hitler alone was in charge of the Army's movements and strategies. And that could be likely part of the reason why Germany was defeated. Oh gosh, I didn't get the date on this. If I can remember, it's 1983, give or take. The United States invades Panama in an attempt to overthrow military dictator Manuel Noriega, who had been indicted in the United States on drug trafficking charges and was accused of suppressing democracy in Panama and endangering U.S. nationals. Kind of sounds like what's going on in Venezuela right now. Very similar argument. Noriega's Panamanian Defense Forces, PDF, were promptly crushed by American forces, forcing the dictator to seek asylum with a Vatican nuncio in Panama City, where he eventually surrendered on January 3rd, 1990. Again, I'm not sure what year that was. I wish I had time to look it up, but normally I have the year. But I'm guessing it's around the mid-'80s. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. Because we won't hear from each other again until after Christmas. Because Christmas is this coming Thursday, and our show drops Saturday. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and last thing I want to leave you with is don't forget the reason for the season, Jesus, the free gift, his life, born as a newborn baby in Bethlehem, raised and lived a sinless life so that he could take the sins of the world upon himself and be crucified and raise again 3 days later, so that the price is paid and we can be with him for eternity. Until next time, thanks for listening to Morning Buzz with the Energy Guy.